I think I have to go back a couple of thousand years. I would say it's the invention of the writing. You know, the writing was one way to share dreams with others, things which you cannot describe. In words, you bring it, you share it, and you conserve it for the next generation. The cool thing about writing is it was developed over so many years, thousands of years, to a point where we are now, the World Wide Web and all the platforms which are using the social media. Think about how powerful it is. And I do believe that a lot of the growth over the many years is basically coming from the invention of writing. I think the cool question is, if you go now 50 years ahead and look back, or maybe another 100, because now time is running faster, if you go back, you would ask, what is the second biggest invention eventually? And I would say the second biggest invention would be making the machines talking to each other. This is maybe even more powerful. You have more machines than people living on Earth. They would talk differently. I mean, less emotional. They might not Twitter, but they would do a lot of magic things in really driving productivity, keeping the economy growing, getting people out of poverty, and using less resources.
Okay, so writing 2.0.
Writing 2.0, if you wish.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, one thing is talking about inventions, but we often talk about innovations as well. What's the different invention?
That's quite easy. An invention becomes an innovation once it hits the market and you make money with it. So, very simple.
Okay. And then we talk more about digital innovations these days. What's the difference between, say, digital innovations and innovations for the physical world, say the gas turbine?
They can go on and on. I mean, the cycle time is shorter. Think about a gas turbine. It took us 5 years to develop. Now an app comes. Sometimes you're patching every week, or sometimes even a day. You bring new software, new applications. But you're right. You are asking the wrong question, Andreas. It's more about how do we bridge the digital and the physical world, because this is where the magic happens. So I do believe that this combination of again, end-to-end connecting the digital world and the physical world, this is where we can drive the value. Nobody scaled it up, got it right yet in terms of scaling, but I do believe we have a pole position there.
Okay, so it's not like, oh, we migrate from physical innovation to digital innovation.
No.
After all, we live in a physical world. We're made from flesh and blood, but then working, say, between the two, bridging the two, does it mean we just do whatever we did, the ways of working, or do we have to change the way we work?
I think this is a change which is substantial and it's fast. It's fast because, as I said, innovation cycles are much, much shorter, so that means we have the way how we work very, very fast. And it's substantial because I believe the future of working in this world is much more dynamic. It should be less hierarchical, more small teams working together, creating incremental solutions. And very often hierarchies are in their way. Maybe even the processes which we have are in the way of really developing in that speed which we need in order to really drive this innovation fast.
Probably most people who are in that hierarchy would agree, oh yeah, too much hierarchy. So what's your role as a leader in that?
No, you want me to say abolishing hierarchies, right?
Sorry.
No, I mean, I think number one is you need to. I need to create a vision and a dream. Jim Snabe would call it a dream. This is something where the people can orient and say, this is where we go for. And we are in it with our hearts, and we are driving for it, number one. Number two is, I do believe leadership comes with a lot of listening to people and understanding. Then you need to get the right people on board, give them a certain structure. Here we have to be very, very careful that we don't overload. That's maybe a mistake sometimes. And empower them. Let the people do what they really do best, bringing their capabilities to the party. So I do believe this combination is what makes really the big difference.
Mm-hmm. Now, Roland, you know this is a very special event among all the Inventor of the Year events because it is the 25th time we're doing it. So in a way, it's historic. And I like to have a record when history is happening. So if you don't mind, I'll do a quick photo. Are you a selfie guy? Do you like taking selfies, Roland?
Yes, depending with whom.
Yeah, well, with me, sorry. I'm the only one on offer. And then I see I mean, in terms of height, I was always on the smaller
I can
side.
look down.
Yeah, okay, great. Let's see how this pans out. And cheese.
Well, no, you're not on this picture.
Oh, well, well, maybe, we don't know. Maybe it's a benefit. Now, it needs to do, so we need to leave it in dark for a moment.
Don't Twitter it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, let's also talk about the next category while this
Yes,
is unfolding.
absolutely.
It's open innovation. And we've been talking about for 10 years or more, like just don't stay in your lab. But what has changed in the last few years around that?
I think the word ecosystem in open innovation becomes a new meaning. I mean, we do that over many years. We have our knowledge exchange universities, 8 universities, which we're collaborating with others too. We have Next 47. We are tapping on outside innovations with startups. We have our partners. But again, coming back into the digital world, in order to really be fast and to scale up, you really need to invite many more partners. And it's not a supplier-customer relationship. It's really a ecosystem. Means that whoever participates gets more out of it because he's using a platform and playing together within one ecosystem. And that makes this whole thing so much different and so much more important.
One person that next to you, by the way, is not from Siemens, from University Erlangen. I think you know the place.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
could have been that I studied there.
Yeah, could be. All right, let's watch the first video. Join me over here. Let's watch the first film. And a big hand for Team eFuel. Join us on stage. Big hand for Manfred, Katharina, Alexander, and Peter. Sorry. Yeah. Hi. Can you take care of it? Thank you. Danke, Clarissa.
Schwer. Gratuliere.
Congratulations. Roland, any questions for the team?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about dreams. Who wants to answer? What is your dream?
Yeah, my dream is to develop an energy system that works globally and that leads to a fully defossilized, climate-neutral energy system. So technologies that can make valuable contributions to this big challenge of our days. That's my dream.
So now comes the challenge. Talking about challenges. You developed a reactor which creates green fuel from renewables. Now you have, let's say, 30 seconds, maybe a minute, to really share with us what's so cool about it. What works in this reactor?
So when was your last flight across the Atlantic? I guess not long ago.
No.
No. So can you imagine to fly only based on renewable energy? So our idea basically consists of 3 steps. The first one is renewable electricity, so wind power or solar photovoltaics. Then you convert it to hydrogen in the second step, and then there's not such a perfect fit of hydrogen to the current infrastructure. So our idea was further convert hydrogen to some liquid fuel, what you can really use in the existing infrastructure and for existing appliances like aircrafts across the Atlantic.
Okay. And the cool thing is that you do that what I understood is, so far it's very difficult to have a reactor which goes up and down, and you found a solution which can deal with renewables, intermittent energy, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the idea. So typically, a methanol process runs 3 years on one level, all the time, same pressure, same temperature, same feedstock. And now in the renewable world, things are moving, fluctuating. Wind is blowing, sun is shining sometimes, sometimes not. So the reactor and the catalyst have to cope with that. And so our invention is to let the catalyst feel like steady state, but in fact the whole reactor is moving up and down. And in this way, we can combine existing technology with a new challenge.
So, and now it's about scaling up, right? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Excellent.
Guys, thank you very much. A big hand for the team eFuel. Thank you very much. Grab a seat. Thank you. Please, over here.
Machen wir den zweiten gleich?
Ihr zweites Team, Sie bleiben da, ja, genau. So next time you fly to the US, you might do it with a good feeling. Hey, it's solar power, it's wind power in the tank. Huh?
Yeah, if they scale up fast enough. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so guys, remember, invention is one thing, innovation the other. Okay, no pressure, no pressure. Next category is the category talents. Who is invited in that category? It's the young folks, people who are a couple of years with Siemens, but they already have very interesting inventions, patents in their own name. And let's watch here the first winning team for talent. And welcome on stage, Arvin Thomas. Big hand. Jetzt
There we go.
wieder. Dankeschön. All right, very good. Arvin, good to have you here. Roland, any questions for Arvin?
Absolutely. So let me start with a more private one. I learned that you grew up in a dairy farm, a milk farm.
Yes, that's true.
And you learned, I mean, you developed your mechanical skills in repairing stuff at that time?
Yeah, I mean, a dairy farm's a great place to have a childhood, and when it's a continuous operation, you can say, so you've got to milk the cows twice a day, and if things break down, you've got to get on with it. You've got to do the root cause analysis all by yourself. You've got to take responsibility, and you've got to find the way to get around those problems. So it's a great environment, and that's what kickstarted my passion in engineering.
Your father is with you. Did he well? Did he do well at that time? Yes? Was he better afterwards than you in repairing? So, how big can these wind turbines get?
If I give you an answer, then somebody's going to prove me wrong in a few years' time. I mean, the industry is demanding new technology, the offshore wind industry. And as we develop new technologies, the boundaries are being pushed back all the time. So what I can say for sure is that The turbines will still have 3 blades. They will still look overall, but the technology under the skin is going to be very different over the coming years. So,
which brings me to the technology on the skin and to your invention. You're working on developing magnets for direct drive turbines, which optimize an algorithm which optimizes it. Is it for getting higher torque? Any other improvements? And then the key question is, and why would you share that with suppliers without asking them to pay for?
well, what we do is multitask. So there's a lot of targets that we have to hit. So we have to keep the performance of the generator. We have to keep the noise and vibrations reduced. And then we have to share that with our suppliers, because at the end of the day, it's a collaboration. And if we don't share this information with the suppliers, then we can't put that into the final product and make it effective for the future.
But the turbines would have an advantage. Lower noise,
Lower noise, more power,
higher torque, getting bigger.
longer lifetime.
That's cool. Excellent.
Big hand. Thank you, Armin. And grab a seat.
Release now.
Genau, ja, jetzt dürfen Sie relaxen, Roland. Thank you very much. Time to relax, grab a seat, but don't go too far. We still need you, okay? And I also heard that main theme. Every question at the end, Roland says, oh, and how do you scale it? How do you scale it? Now, quick show of hands. We're still waiting for this to develop. It takes about like 10 minutes approximately. Who of you in the room has ever taken a Polaroid photo? Hands up. That is almost everybody in the room. Second question, who in the room has taken a Polaroid photo in the last 12 months? Hands up. Astonishing, about 10% of the room. Polaroid is back. I love Polaroid. And I love our keynote speaker, because Polaroid was on the brink of being an extinct species. An extinct species because we were running out of film. We wouldn't produce it anymore. And our keynote speaker, he made sure there would be film going around. His name is Florian Kaps. And fun fact about him, he's trained as a biologist and his specialization was in spiders. But more about himself from him. Welcome on stage. Here's Florian Kaps. Hi. Viel Spaß.
Hallo, danke. Vielleicht musst du noch runter.
Ja, jetzt müssen wir. Ja, so, jetzt. Naja, wird ja schon so langsam, oder? Na, ist schon ganz gut. Ne?
Ja, grüß Gott. Vielen Dank für die Ehre. Ich war ehrlich gesagt etwas nervös, wie ich was? English. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. English. I was nervous. Yeah, as you know, I even had the wrong language. How to impress people from Siemens and even innovators. So I was thinking about maybe a very special technology could be used. And yeah, that's why I had this overhead projector to really give me a good start. Why I am standing here, so thanks again. Maybe we can improve this a little bit. Still, yeah, that's better. Maybe it's because I somehow specialized on impossible projects. So for many years, and it all started with these guys, with spiders. Because as you most likely know, all spiders do have 8 eyes. But when you blindfold these eyes, they still behave totally normal. So nobody really knows why these spiders have these 8 eyes. And for many years among scientists, it was an impossible project to find out, because it's hard to ask the spiders or show them little signs. So as soon as I heard about this impossible project, I somehow found out that impossible projects are very attractive to me. And you can imagine my parents were delighted that I spent over 10 years on exactly this topic to find out about the vision of spider eyes. I don't want to go in too much detail. And yes, I became the world-leading expert in spy-eye muscles. But it also turned out that it's pretty hard to earn an income as a world's leading spy-eye muscle, whatever. So I had to move on. But still, if you have some question about spider eye vision, I'm very happy after the talk to discuss this. But I had to move on, and the next impossible project crossed my way in 2003. You have to imagine this was the time when everybody was clear about one fact, that digital photography will kill analog photography as soon as the quality is the same. So there was no doubt about it. Nevertheless, I was thinking about maybe when everybody is running in this direction, maybe it makes sense to also have a closer look to the other direction. And I started to look for the most analog photo material out there. And I found Polaroid. And I took I bought a camera, I took a film, and suddenly this image developed in my hands. And there was something to it, some kind of magic. And even my wife said, maybe that's the best portrait ever taken from you. So I said, okay, I have to research, I have to find out more. And surprisingly, nobody in the whole world seemed to be interested in Polaroid material anymore, including Polaroid, this big, amazing company themselves. So when I went there to Frankfurt to meet their managers and to tell them about my research and my dreams, that more and more people start using it again. And in the magazines, many of the digital pictures had this fake Polaroid frame to add some value. So when I met them and presented them a wonderful new marketing concept for Polaroid, they said, wow, it's amazing, but maybe 10 years too late, because you have heard about this digital movement, so we just decided to go on in the digital way. Luckily, we agreed to at least have a little after discussion, glasses of wine. So you see here some Polaroids of the Polaroid managers, global leading marketing managers of Polaroid. And after some bottles of wine, they at least agreed to give me the chance to do it on my own. So my crazy idea was to be the first one to sell and present Polaroid film online. So this was, very strange idea, but they agreed to it. So I got the global rights to sell Polaroid films and communicate Polaroid films online. That's exactly what we did. We opened the first global online shop for Polaroid film. We had very good marketing back in the days, but the best marketing was done by my friends who at the same time started a small project called Google. So by Google, suddenly everybody who couldn't get the Polaroid films in the stores, they put it in the search engine and they landed on my page. So suddenly, I became the hero for Polaroid films online. So even my wife was impressed for the first time. I even brought home some money, and the whole world ordered Polaroid films at my little place. We were 2 people, and selling Polaroid films globally. So fantastic, the best impossible project ever. Until this day, when I received this invitation from Polaroid management, they said, "Hey, Doc, amazing what you did, really super cool. We wouldn't believe you, but you did it. But unfortunately, we're closing down the last Polaroid factory in Enschede. But, as we respect you, you are invited to the closing event. So have some beer with us and let's celebrate that finally we move on to digital." And I said, "Guys, are you crazy? I have 40,000 customers. I basically double my whole network every year. The party's just beginning." And they said, yeah, of course. And they invited me to Enschede. They even asked the production manager to take care of me because, maybe they're afraid that the crazy spider dog is dancing naked on the stage or something. But this was their mistake, because this production manager sat down with me on a bench. And for the first time, I told this production manager that produced the film for 30 years that there are still people out there that love the film they are producing, because the management told them, there is no demand out there anymore. And he was the guy who told me that if he has one more year and just a few of his best people, there might be a chance that they scale the production down and restart the factory. So with that knowledge and enough beer, we decided to immediately go back to the Polaroid management and give it another try to save the last Polaroid factory. And the managers, they didn't want to listen, and they said, it's impossible. Believe it, it's impossible. We have looked into it. It's impossible. And I said, I'm totally fine with that. I called the company the impossible project. I agree, but at least give us the chance to do it. And surprisingly, also with the help of the FBI, that that invaded the headquarters of Polaroid in the US and imprisoned the whole top management because of a big Ponzi scheme problem they had. A friend of mine had the right to sign. For 1 week he called me and he said, in the books the factory has a scrap value of 180,000 euro. We have 1 week. If you transfer the money, the factory is yours. And that's what happened. We started the Impossible project. So a startup with exactly 10 of the most experienced engineers. So you see a startup, average age of 65 years, starting the Impossible project and doing something that might be impossible for a big company, but still deserves a chance. The press was amazing. So, everybody talked about it, but it made me very angry because it was somehow like, whoa, the comeback of Led Zeppelin back in the day, some old guys, they don't want to retire, it's nostalgic, it's a little retro. And I said, hey guys, that's not the case. This is wrong. It's not about retro or a trend, because back by then I knew my customers are looking like this. So Polaroid always thanked me for taking care of the old people too old to go to the media market and buy a digital camera. And I said, guys, you don't have any idea. Your customers are looking like this. This is the post-digital generation. These are the people who grew up digitally and are now discovering analog. And we made a research, and this was our customer base. So basically between 18 and 32. So this is the most wanted customer group on earth that suddenly discovered Polaroid. So what happened is that the product and the company that nobody wanted and nobody believed in, called The Impossible Project, last year they bought Polaroid. So they started to produce new cameras, and they started to introduce new hardware that combines digital with analog. So we did something like an instant lab that you can expose your images from your iPhone onto analog film. And this company produced more than 10 million packs of film last year. But for me, the whole Impossible project just started because I said, I want to understand what happened here, because this is such an important thing that nobody had on the radar, that these young people, including my kids, started to fall in love with analog. So everybody thought they're gonna never look outside of their phones, but they are the ones getting interested in Polaroid, starting to buy vinyl records. And nobody out there tried to understand the customers and the mechanisms behind it. Because something happened. There are no customers out there. Customers is from basically Hundo, somebody you can trust, somebody you and I contact. The companies somehow had lost the connection to their customers. So I started to look at them a little bit more closer. And you discover amazing things. For example, vinyl records. When BBC made this research, they found out that basically almost half of the people who buy vinyl records, they don't have a turntable or they don't use a turntable. This, at first thing, this is funny, but at the second side, it's very interesting because these people, they are sitting at home, they listen to the stream digitally, they hold their records in their hand, and they feel close to their people. So why, ladies and gentlemen, why is this? This is just a simple fact. When you look in the mirror, even after a difficult night, you don't look like that. You look like this. And this is a very, very important fact. You look like a human being, and the human being is just here on earth because for thousands of years, they trust in their own senses. You need your 5 senses in order to tell you what is good for you, what is bad for you. You need your 5 senses in order to build trust. No matter if it's just with a human being or a company, you need your 5 senses to fall in love. And this is what brings up the limitations of digital, because digital is always behind the glass screen. So you can see it, you can hear it, but you can never touch it, you cannot smell it, and you cannot lick it. And this is not bad. It's just you should never forget the limitations of digital, and you should never forget that we are all human beings. And this, this is a big problem, especially for all these big companies, the digital companies who grew up digitally, because they start to find out the limitations of digital. So while all the analog companies still spend all their money they have to become digital, they started to go exactly the other direction. So they find out, and this is the last chapter, what I'm wanting to say is that it's about trusting your senses. If they want to win the trust of the customers, they have to accept that they have senses. So they have to deal with reality. This is why Amazon started to build bookstores, And they are very bad because they don't have any idea. This is why my friends from Facebook, and they have invited me several times, they have, that's the other way around. They have, since 10 years, an analog research lab. It's next to the Dream Room, but they have a 2-digit million budget to research the possibilities or how to connect their digital Facebook business model with analog reality. And this is why I started this project called SuperSense, to find out and to teach the next generation about this incredible potential of their senses, and also bring them in contact with all technologies, because schools stopped doing it. For example, if you want to study photography, there is no darkroom anymore. They start basically at the age of digital. Nobody wants to touch chemistry, but how can you teach history by starting after the World War? This is not the whole chapter, and this is not a good basis for innovation. Let's talk just a few seconds about the most important senses. Most important sense, ladies and gentlemen, is the smell. Why? Because it's the only sense that is directly connected to the middle part of our brain. So unfortunately, it's the only sense that cannot be manipulated by marketing. So whatever you do, a hotel room, whatever, if you meet a person, before you can even start talking or doing some marketing, this person decides if he trusts you or likes you or not. So you better start thinking about smell. Or music. What we do in our SuperSense store, and this is also, why I also need the help of Siemens doing this, to show the people how things are made, to show them how things, have been done, not in a museum, out there on the street, in order they can, understand them, to show them, or not even show them, to make them feel the difference between an MP3 file and, and the full sound wave, because MP3 cuts out portions so that the brain can put it again together. So listening, what is the sign? How many minutes? It's just the minutes, okay. So the listening to MP3, the brain has to work. So it's really, it's exhausting. But when you listen to a full kind of music, your brain is relaxing. And, the people can feel the difference. You don't even have to explain it. Just put them there. And, we started to make cooperations with the 25-hour hotel. They give us a lot of money, so we can basically scrap all the digital stuff of the hotel rooms and just put in analog technology. And not just put them in, for example, a turntable, but, we mark on the sofa, we mark a little red sign and invite the people to sit there to experience something that they don't know anymore. It's called stereo. So they have 2 ears, and when they sit there and have stereo speakers, they feel the potential of their own system, and that's simply amazing. So, but we have to move on. Dreams. So I think when we talk about dreams and impossible dreams, and unfortunately I can never stop dreaming, I want to say one important thing, and also I want to mention this guy. This is one of my favorite inventors ever. It's Edwin Land. He invented Polaroid, and after Edison, he's the man with the most patents of human beings. And he said something very important. He said, most often, innovation is not about having new ideas, but forgetting old ones. And I think this is pretty important when it is about this idea that somehow everybody has, that the future and all answers for the future can be found in digital technology. And they forget about, or they seem to forget about all these incredible analog technologies out there. And yes, we have heard Siemens is doing 31 inventions every day, but my experience is that every day at least 31 incredible technologies are scrapped or thrown away and disappear. So if I wouldn't be there with this Polaroid factory, this incredible technology, the most complicated chemical process ever invented by man called instant photography, would have been gone forever. The same with the vinyl records. Without saving these crazy technologies of cutting or pressing vinyl records saved by some of my crazy friends, this technology would have been disappeared. And now these things are the basis to rethink them, because, and this is my dream project, digital surprisingly didn't kill analog, but in fact, it's the biggest chance analog ever had, because it totally gives analog a new meaning. And I agree, it also has been said, it would be magic to finally think about how to combine analog and digital technologies, how to make the best of both worlds in order to save the problems of the world, and not forget about analog photography or not any other analog technologies. So my hope is in the hands of companies like Siemens that started at the very beginning and is now, in their hands. It's about finding the perfect combination. And ZAP Lab is for me the symbol of looking at the past from the other side around. So past ZAP, I think this is brilliant. Okay. And please help me that the old things don't disappear and the new generation, the new inventors can understand all these old technologies in order to reinterpret them and, define the future and solve a lot of problems with the perfect combination of tradition and innovation. Thank you very much.
Florian. Florian, before you leave, you mentioned a couple of impossible projects in your life. What's the next impossible project you're working on?
The next impossible project is still, to find more supporters that help me, that, all these incredible technologies are not thrown away. Still many of amazing factories and technologies are fighting very hard, because on short term there seems to be no reason. And I thought, things like the Swiss watchmaking, things like the Polaroid project, they will help that, also big companies on a long-term vision say, oh, wow, there might be a new chance in keeping them alive. But still, a lot of things are just simply scrapped and going away. So that's an ongoing
If
project.
anybody in the room has a technology that's on the verge of extinction, call this man, Florian. Yeah, he's in Vienna. Visit him, Florian.
Better call me when you have solutions of how to save them. I have enough.
Oh, the solutions.
Yeah,
I also have the solution ready. All right, big hand again for Florian. Now, high time to meet more of the talents that are awarded tonight. And our next winner will receive her trophy from the Chief Financial Officer of Siemens Digital Industries. That's Maria Ferraro. Welcome on stage. Hi. Hi, Maria.
Hello. Hi.
Good to have you. Now, Maria, there's big news. In a couple of days, you have an additional role, Siemens
Yes.
Chief Diversity
Yes.
Officer. Now,
Yes.
I live in London, and these days when people talk about diversity, almost always they say diversity and inclusion. So what about inclusion? What's the difference, diversity, inclusion?
Yes, I get that question actually often, and thank you, by the way. Thank you. I'm really excited to take on this new additional responsibility, an important topic. I always say it's not just, those are not just words. We actually have to implement that, and they're very important business initiatives. When we talk about diversity, you talk about different things. Most people associate that with gender, but it's not just gender. It's people like me with different backgrounds, coming from different places, different races, different religions, different beliefs. And then inclusion, of course, is creating an environment when all of those people that have a unique composition, we're all different, are able to bring their true self and be able to provide the value and the full potential. Another way that it was described to me just today is diversity is getting an invitation to the party, and inclusion is being able to dance. Whether you're good or bad dancer, you're still able to dance. So
All right, so we have a 20-month-year-old here in the room.
Yes.
So seat at the table, yes, but inclusion is we accept that he or she doesn't keep us over. Now, different. So to make sure I understand, in just a couple of moments, we will ask the next winner on stage,
Right.
also a woman, which means I will become a minority here on the stage, and
You're
that-
included.
That
You're
I'm.
included.
I'm Great. So I have got a place on the stage, but your behavior will make me feel it.
Exactly.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And with that, let's watch a video on the first winner.
Wonderful.
And a big hand for Lucia Mirabella. Please join us on stage.
Well done. Congratulations. There you go. Can we take a picture? So, Lucia, how do you feel right now?
I feel great.
Yeah. Great. Congratulations, actually. Lucia hails from a country that's celebrating something today. So first and foremost, we should say Happy Thanksgiving, because you live in Princeton,
Thanks.
US. So Happy Thanksgiving.
To you
Thank
as
you for
well.
sharing it with all of us here today. So that's wonderful. So Lucia, we're here talking about dreams. And of course, we saw that this is certainly putting generative design with 3D printing. Everybody's talking about 3D printing and the possibilities. What are the possibilities, do you think, of this technology in the future?
3D printing is a great technology, especially because it allows a lot of innovation in design. So now we have a tool that we can use, but now we want other tools to be able to create innovative shapes for objects that can be made more efficient, can be made smarter, better. And we do that with generative design, which essentially, the way I fit in there is that I combine my mathematical background with the knowledge of how products should work and what's the context of them, and the knowledge of how they were designed in the past. All this to create tools that help designers create better designs. And this is really giving superpowers to the designers.
I like that, superpowers, but also optimizing. I think this is what it's all about, continually optimizing. And I'm going to brag on your behalf. I think as part of your doctorate, you were helping doctors before and prepare for their surgeries, right? In modeling, and I think this is something just wonderful, in modeling children's hearts, because there were heart surgeons that were operating on children's, to optimize and to ensure to reduce the surprise factor and allow for a more successful surgery. So this, of course, is not just something we see in energy or healthcare. It can go in multiple industries. What's your thoughts on that?
Yes, that's the cool thing. We are developing a tool, but the tool can be used for many different applications. We can use it for gas turbine components, for components of electronics, but also for surgical constructs. And in this way, with creating digital twins, we essentially can predict how things will behave before actually making them. And we can optimize the process, for example, optimize the design, and come up with something that is better than just trial and error.
Great. Good, thank you.
Thank you very much to both of you. Congratulations. And a big hand for Lucia and Maria. Thank you so much. And then, Wolfgang, thank you very much. Time to meet more talents. And yes, there are more talents to come. And we will have them honored by another chief financial officer. We also have a lot of those, but now it's going to be the chief financial officer of Siemens AG. Ralf Thomas, please join us on stage. Hi. So we're in the news section of this event. Also big news for you. In a couple of days, you will be the chairman of the supervisory board of Siemens Healthineers. How's it feeling?
Great honor to be that, and also great experience, I think, to come back, so to speak, to a business, or at least a bit closer, that I have been spending a lot of time at, and which I think has been, to a large extent, shaping my career, because they have been combining a really purposeful business with excellent business opportunities. And it's actually one of the centerpieces of our portfolio for the way forward, making best use of great innovations.
Okay. But for a moment, still, let's talk a little bit money from a CFO perspective. All these guys, they are the ones who harvest after years and years and years of work, and it's not always cheap. So with research and development, at first it feels like a cost, and after the pain, years later, you might get the gain. How do you get the short-term versus the long-term right with R&D investment?
How much time do we have?
Yeah, I think 20 seconds. So
it's easy. I mean, you need to have a great idea, to have enough funds for investing into even greater ideas, and do that time and again. Deserve the trust of your board members, and then of the market and of the customers, and then do that again and again. I think there's a great track record that Siemens has in many, many businesses that have been proving that they can do the trick time and again. So they are highly creative, they are innovative, and they are also leading in the competition, in a highly competitive environment. And that's actually a merit that you can't be a lot more successful in.
Okay, so proof lies in the pudding. Something has been going well since we're seeing all these fantastic inventions.
If you can do a trick once, it's great. If you can repeat it, that's what making excellence in the marketplace.
Very good. Now, time to meet the next winner in this category. Let's watch a quick video. And a big hand for David Grotzky.
Hey, great. Thank you.
Dave. Sehr gerne.
Wer?
Ja, schwer. So David, this is nothing against the noise an MRT can create, right?
That's true. It's like a starting jet plane. Yeah.
So give it a try, 30 seconds. Why is there any noise and how did you kill it?
So MRI is, as the name tells you, it's using high magnetic fields. And sometimes during measurements, they need to be switched very rapidly. So they have high electric currents, and this leads to very high magnetic forces or electromagnetic forces within the system itself, and so there's high noise. So what I've tried to do is making the scan itself smarter. It actually reminds me of my worst ever taxi drive. So it seems that in this car there were only two options. One was kick down the gas, and the other one was slam down in the brakes. So there were only these two options. So whenever there was a red light, the taxi driver was accelerating until the last second and then slammed into the brake. So probably not the best way to use your car. However, this is also a bit how conventional MRI is being done. So we made it a bit smarter and made sure that the system is only used as much as actually needed.
So great progress in that field. I mean, I've been in MRIs myself and have to admit, in the beginning it's a bit irritating, but if you get used to it, it made me sleep. How come?
Yeah, it's very repetitive. Yeah. It's quite repetitive. So if you're in there just as a volunteer, you can fall asleep, but as a patient, you might be stressed. Yeah.
Okay, that's a point. That's a point. Now, having those great devices and the great opportunities they provide, if 50% of the global population not having access to really first-class medical devices, how long is it going to take to get the price tag to levels that make it accessible also for the other half of the global population?
Yeah, so actually for MRI it's even worse. It's only 1 out of 10 people on this world who has actually access to MRI. It will take a few more years to bring down the cost effectively to get sort of the next billion of people into the MRI. But we're working on this, so I'm quite positive.
So we are going to be the first for the other 90% in the marketplace?
Or the 80% maybe.
That's a commitment. So great to have that.
But stay here for a second. Stay here for a second, because that would be interesting. See, one day when we have a technology that gives us imaging without that big noise and that big tube, then Florian might come around and say, "No, let's save the MRI. It makes me sleep." The other thing you said, and I don't know whether our musicians here, and by the way, this is the Takanaka Club Band. Big hand for the band. Now, did you hear that? He said that is nothing against the noise in an MRI. So now, to demonstrate your invention, let's simulate the volume level in an MRI scanner. Are you ready? Go!
And your sex is on fire.
Close? All right, but now your invention reduces the volume to 3% of that volume level. Can you also do soft? Ready? Go.
Wow.
Yeah, good. The ingenious Takanaka Club Band and the ingenious David Grodzki. Big hand again. Congratulations.
David, viel Erfolg. Ja.
Sie bleiben noch einen Moment da. Now, he's an amazing guy. We need to remember him because he's so young, mid-30s, but he already has 170 patents. 170. And that makes you wonder, wow, what is this all about? Is it a numbers game? If you have more patents, are you more inventive? Or what else goes into this? And we have the right person to answer that question. He is head of intellectual property at Siemens, Beat Weibel. So Beat, what is it? How do you select the inventors of the year?
Yeah, it's certainly not about quantity, but it's more about quality. And one main criteria of the selection by the international jury is business impact. So that means all the inventions that we celebrate here will or already have contributed to innovation and business success of Siemens.
Okay, thank you very much. So it's not just quantity, but also quality. And that brings us to our next category, which is outstanding invention. So what is an outstanding invention? As you define for the purpose of this category, it's invention that set standards or that are a big business success and that help solve social problems. So when I read that, I thought, oh, yeah, Tinder, Grindr, any dating app, right? Solves a social problem. A wants to meet somebody suitable, and then but no, that's not what we mean. Couldn't be further from that, in particular because the next winner, she is frying much, much bigger fish, because her work is about the difference between life and death. Let's watch a video. Welcome on stage, Dr. Anna Jerebko. Hey.
Anna, congratulations.
Thank you.
Great thing for human mankind, I guess you're doing. Anna, congratulations. A highly relevant contribution to a highly relevant application of imaging. What you actually did is you make best use of three-dimensional imaging in a two-dimensional world. Why is that relevant?
Thank you very much for the question. In two-dimensional imaging, the problem is that disease can sometimes hide behind a dense but healthy breast tissue. So, and radiologists are still used to it. They want their full overview of the breast. While in three-dimensional imaging, which is called tomosynthesis, it's a recent technology, the breast structures are visible better, but they're split into different levels, like slices of bread. So I came up with a three-dimensional mammography technique, which shows the complete breast in transparent views from different angles, like in high-resolution 3D animations. It's like if you cannot see a particular constellation from Philadelphia, you drive to New York or Washington, D.C., and the sky is perhaps clearer there. So you can rotate the image and see it from a different angle.
I see. So what you actually do is you make invisible things visible by using smart technology. Does that apply to balance sheets too? Or to budgets?
Well,
so we should talk about that later.
Also
we should
quick
talk
question,
about
anybody from the FSA in the room, from the finance? Okay, great.
You can always find a technique, a right visualization technique that makes the radiologists or finance people see invisible things better.
So we will be in business. We will be in business, definitely. So great. great technology, obviously, that may spill over into other sciences and other areas of relevance. But before I can leave you off stage, you need to share something else with us. I mean, you have been born in Russia, and you are living in the US. So you are deep in science and embedded in a community that is really top-notch. What makes the difference between being a scientist in the US compared to the way being that in Russia?
US is one of the 4 countries where I lived and worked, so I can compare perhaps. Scientists are similar, honestly, in the whole world. And with the internet, with the technology, we work all together. This is quite amazing. We work together with Russia, India, with Germany, China, every day. It's quite amazing. And I would say that scientists are very similar around the globe. Very fascinated, very motivated, trying to work on Sundays, just to finish something and see how it works.
So
really
the culture
curious.
of the community is crossing borders seamlessly.
It's very, very similar.
Thank you so much. Anna, big hand and congratulations. Please, both of you.
Klasse, Anna.
And now back over to these guys, the rockers in the room. We'll spend a couple of minutes with you and you'll share a song from Gabrielle. And the song is called Dreams.
They can come true. They can come true. Move a step closer. Know that I want you. I can tell by your eyes that you want me to. Just a question of time. We will be together and you will be mine. I want you here forever. Do you hear what I'm saying? Gotta say how I feel. Believe when you're here. Know that you're real. Know that I want, baby, it's you. Can't deny the feeling because they are true. Yeah, dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope. You know you got to be strong. Dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope. You know you got to be strong. Seen you sometimes all alone in your crowd. Knew that I could have you. My hopes didn't get me down. Now you're by my side and I feel so good. Got nothing to hide, don't think that I ever could. Do you hear what I'm saying? Gotta say how I feel. Don't believe that you're real, know that you're real. Know what I want, baby, it's you. Can't deny my feelings because they are true, yeah. Dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope. You know you got to be strong. Dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope. You know you got to be strong. Ooh, yeah. I'm not making plans for tomorrow. Let's live for tonight. I know that I will have you, so hold me so tight. Put your arms around me, baby, it's me. And whisper in your ear, I know that you stay. Dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope. You know you got to be strong. Dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You you got to be strong. Dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to be strong. Yeah, dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope. You know you got to be strong. Dreams.
That's the Takanaka Club Band with Dreams. And are you up for a bit of dreaming? Are you ready for a bit of dreaming? If you like, we can do that together, okay? If you want, let's dream a little bit together, plus each and every one of you individually. How are we going to do that, okay? Here's what I'm going to ask you to do, everybody here in the room and also everybody on the live stream. When I say go, and not before, I want you all to close your eyes just for 10 seconds, and I'll bring you back, I'll count you in. For 10 seconds, you close your eyes, and I want you to dream during these 10 seconds. But not just dream, I want you to dream big, okay? Everybody understands, also everybody on the live stream. When I say go, close your eyes, 10 seconds, and I want a big dream. Ready, set, close your eyes. Go, 10 seconds. Three, 2, 1. Everybody come back. Everybody come back. Now you've got your dream. Next thing I'd like you to do, when I say go, not before, I want you to pick a person near you, here in the room or in the live stream, an innocent bystander. If there's nobody around, you can send a text or voice message to somebody. So when I say go, not before, I want you, pick a person near you, share your dream. Be crisp. Just 10 seconds for you, and then the other person shares back the dream 10 seconds. Volunteer, if you don't want to share, it's okay, but it gets boring, okay? Everybody understands? 10 seconds each. Find a partner, both share. Ready, set, go! Pick a partner near you. Share your dream, and have the dream shared back. And 10 more seconds. Swap around. If you haven't shared your dream yet, do it now. And 3, 2, 1, freeze. Everybody come back. Everybody come back. And I see Jim and Roland are still at it because they dream so big. It doesn't fit in 10 seconds. Next and last step. Next and last step. Think about your partner's dream. What dream did your partner share? If that dream, the dream you heard from your partner, is 1, big and bold, and 2, can be shared safely with this group. If both are true, raise your hand now. Raise your hand now if your partner's dream, big and okay, we'll get to you in a second. Let's go first to the back over here. Keep your hand up, keep your hand up. Okay, Philip, who's your partner? Who's your partner? All right, sorry, what's your name?
Ines.
Ines, please get up, Ines, briefly for everybody. He just threw you under the bus. So Ines, camera's over there. Now, what was your dream, very quickly?
No, my dream is to rescue an old forgotten brand, like Florian described. Yeah, because there are so many samples, and I think craftsmanship is something wonderful because you have all the 5 senses.
Very good. Thank you very much. Save a brand or a technology. Hands up again. Who else had a partner with a big dream? Over here again. Who was your partner? All right, please get up, and then sorry. What's your name?
Michael.
Michael.
So my dream was that we really get it done with climate change and these 1.5 degrees Celsius.
Okay, get climate change in check. Thank you very much, Michael, and we'll hear more about that because your work is related to that. And then we had these 2 guys over here, both diligently raising their hands. So Jim, which dream did you hear about?
So I heard about technology that can save this planet and make a sustainable future for us.
Okay, and Roland, what did you hear?
I heard about the problem to solve with the technology. So it's about a sustainable future, which is really creating a better place.
I like your dreams. Why don't you just come with me? Come with me. We should talk more about that. Come here. Come on stage. Sorry. Yeah, maybe over here if you don't mind. And then Jim, grab a seat. So for Roland, we know Jim. Jim, you haven't been on stage yet. You're chairman of the supervisory board of Siemens AG. Roland, deputy CEO. And you wrote a book about dreams and details, big dreams, and then relevant details. You need both, but how do I know which stage I'm at? Should I dream now or should I roll up my sleeves? How do I decide, Jim?
Well, first of all, let me thank Roland and the team for putting this together. In the past, I would just watch it on the screens, you know, but this year I was invited, so thank you.
Good to have you. Somebody put him on the list, yeah.
I don't know. So I really appreciate that, and you know, it reminds me of all the things that can be done. So when do you need a dream, and when do you need details? Maybe I can answer the opposite question. If you know the future, and you can create a perfect plan, then you don't need dreams and you don't need details. You can just do what's in the plan. Likelihood is that you'll get irrelevant relatively soon. Because maybe your assumptions on the future is wrong. So I think actually that any leader needs to have a dream, because dreams inspire people to do things they didn't imagine they could do. And I think any one of us needs to care for the details, but not all details, the details that really matter and that would unfold the potential of the dream. So I'm a big believer in that leadership model. I don't think we can plan the future, but we can dream about how it could become and then care for the details that really matter.
Okay, but then if I dream and then I keep dreaming and keep dreaming and keep dreaming, so how do I know the moment has come to lock in the dream and start the work? How do I know?
I think the dream for me is the inspiration that when you talk about that dream, you can see how people's eyes begin to shine. And leadership is a lot about having followership. So if you think you lead and you look behind and there's no one, maybe you're just out for a walk. Okay. And so once you have a description of that future, that dream, that kind of vision of what you could become as an organization, then it's time to always talk about that. You don't need another dream, but then you care for the details and you spend a lot of time caring for the details.
One of the dreams we heard about was about climate change, about something very relevant for humanity. But then, Roland, if you look at the state of the world, a lot is going well. Poverty, absolute poverty, has been declining over decades. Life expectancy has been increasing over decades on average globally. Do we really need big dreams now, or should we just keep on doing the hard work to get better bit by bit?
I think you're right. The global economy developed in the past nicely. I mean, there's so many millions and hundreds of millions of people getting out of poverty, and it's still going forward. The only problem, the little detail here, is that we pay a very high price for it. We are living over our resources. We are consuming more. Some people are saying 1.5 times the resources the Earth provides. We are heating up our planet in a way which is not sustainable. So we are creating problems at the same time. So point would be, we have to do that, continuing doing that, really developing our economy, developing better healthcare systems, better mobility systems, while not destroying our Earth at the same time.
Okay, so you might be, oh great, everybody's getting richer, but the platform we're on is burning.
Then we have to go to the Mars.
Oh, okay. Well, that's next steps. Okay. Now, dreaming big. The big question here is if sometimes you don't have energy for both, right? Now I need to dream big, and then I need to do the work. Which one is more important if I have to choose, Jim?
Well, I think in times of, let's say, radical change, and in particular when things you know how work are being challenged and changed. People get concerned about the future, and we see that right now in political aspects and in many aspects. That, so you know, will robots take my job? What kind of changes are going to happen to me and the way I live my life? And I think those are the moments when you need the dream the more. I mean, if I look back, 50 years ago, we landed a man on the moon and brought him safely back again. And that was a dream articulated by a politician. And I would argue that that dream was so crisp and clear and yet so inspiring. It united an entire nation, actually maybe many nations. Nobody knew how to do it, and it led to a technological leadership of a country, the US, in many different aspects. And so it shows the moment when a dream is relevant. At that time we had the Cold War, and this actually changed the game to be a technology game rather than a war game. And so it's a good example of how the dream can help manage this transition. But then, you know, if nobody had cared for the details, then he would have looked a little bit foolish at the end of the decade, because it wouldn't have been delivered.
Roland, what's your take? Any preference, one over the other, prioritization, one over the other?
Actually, I do believe you need both. There's no way around. And I mean, my personal experience, it was when I was handed over a couple of years back the infrastructure and city sector. We really had to build a dream, because the people in the sector, they felt like, and it was also written sometimes in the press, they felt like we are the bad bank and something is going wrong here. So and they needed a dream to really see the future, how it can be. And now I give you an impression on why is it so important to have the details. And I pick one of these divisions, which was part of it, our mobility division. Sabrina's here. I mean, these guys always had a dream of really building great trains, making mobility better, greener. But they had also a bad time, because every other year we dropped into any problems and we made losses. So, and they were really fully engaged, and they call themselves Pufferküsser, which is, these are the guys who are really into it.
So Pufferküsser, that's kissing the buffers of a train.
Exactly,
Right?
exactly.
Okay, yeah.
So and here comes the detail now into play, because I mean, we found out that the problem is that they really didn't get their arms around projects, large projects, get it right and delivered in time. So, and then I figured out that maybe from the top management starting downwards, they were not really in the details. What's the problem with the train? Why didn't we deliver? What are the failures? What is the pattern? The moment they started on going into the details and make it very, very clear that they have to do that, it was really changing. And now, I mean, we're very proud about our mobility business at 24 quarters in a row, delivering in the target margin band, being the most successful mobility company in the world, we have to say. So therefore, I mean, dream came true.
Well done. And
actually, yeah, I think it's a great example, Roland. I still remember I had joined the board in 2013, and mobility was not a great business. And my conclusion at the time was like, you can't make money on trains. Because they're all different in all countries, so how can you ever make money? It's not like airplanes. You can have one airplane for the whole world. And then somehow, you know, I saw your leadership come in there, and clearly there were details in the game. And now I'm one of the biggest, you know, believers in mobility. So thanks for your leadership. I thought that was, and the team who really made it happen.
So strong, big dream, get them back to strength. All the deal. Plus Florian, in a way, comes back in earlier on. He says you need all your 5 senses. Can you lick something? And for a Pufferküsser, yeah, finally. But that's a very different topic. Now, coming back to the dreams. Big corporations are not universally known as great places where you burst out, oh, I have a dream, and your boss, oh great, let's dream together, let's do everything differently. So what are large companies often doing wrong in terms of stopping dreams too early?
So sometimes we overdo in processes, which is really, I mean, this is one way how you can kill innovations. And if you do tell, I mean, I'm not saying that you don't need them, but I mean, I'm saying if you overdo, and that happens. Secondly, that very often big companies have maybe big money and then they are not focusing. I mean, if you talk about my experience with startups, they don't have the money. They're very tight. So they are focusing, they can only focus on one thing and they have to do it extremely well and just make it better. And this is very, very often the key to success. And the third element, which is equally important, is that obviously large companies do something well. Very often they are market leaders. So here comes the incumbent syndrome, how I would call it. A market leader defends what they're sitting on. They are just saying, I mean, I'm so great, I keep on going. And this is one way of losing the future if you're not ready to adapt fast enough. So these are the three elements where I believe large companies could fail if they're not watching out.
Jim, when you listen to that, you're involved with several large companies, so board seats, and what can companies do to become better places for dreams to unfold?
Well, I think there is this theory that if you are successful, you eventually become irrelevant because you hold on to that success too long. Like Clayton Christensen calls it the innovator's dilemma, where he says the larger you are, the more successful you are, the more you tend to hold on to the past. And management is the latest ones to see it happening when the disruption happens. That's so I kind of refuse to accept that. And I found two solutions to the problem. Number one, you could solve this problem by never being successful. It's not a good solution, but it's a theoretical solution. And the other one is that, you know, imagine you can create a culture in a large successful company that when you feel you're at your peak, you begin to question yourself, you begin to challenge your assumptions, you begin to experiment more. And what I see today is like these experiments becoming real. And then you add the power of the large company. It's unbeatable. We talk about these startups. Startups have great ideas, but no scale. We can do both. But it does demand that you are willing to challenge your success when you're at your peak. And I see a lot of that happening now at Siemens, and I really enjoy that. And then allowing experiments, which is what Roland said. If you have too many processes, there's no place for experiments. You gotta let go. You actually have to unleash human potential rather than plan it all out so everyone knows what they need to do. Then there is no time for experiments.
And we have a lot of experimenters here in the room trying stuff out and then more often than not failing. Siemens engineers are known for religious commitment to precision and zero mistakes because life and limb sometimes depend on it. How do you make it safe for people to fail?
This is the fourth problem.
Yeah. Okay.
If you talk about innovation, I mean, 9 out of 10 times you might fail. If you're really good, maybe you can make it 2 times successful. So, and this is one of the problems that if we start something, we normally make a plan, we make a business plan, and then we have to make it happen, and then we keep on going. And if it's not working, we throw in more money and do it harder. You know the famous saying of Mark Twain when he said a couple of guys were sitting a boat rowing, and the moment they found out they're rowing in the wrong direction, they doubled the effort. That should not happen. So you have to fail. Accept this is much higher. That's one experience from startups too. So therefore, innovation means that you try something, and very often it fails, but keep on going and don't be discouraged. Of course, nobody wants to fail by purpose. Everybody really tries its best. And this is something what I believe should be a little bit more embedded in our culture so that we allow this freedom. And then if we find that something is not going in the right direction, then correct it fast.
So what I hear from you is to make it safe, failing is punishment enough. We don't have to hit the person then a second time.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, good, but don't fail on purpose. I also heard that from Roland. Now, when you look at Siemens, Jim, what could be a wider contribution of the company beyond paying shareholders, providing jobs, cool things? But there are bigger problems out there. Which ones do you want the company to address?
Well, you know, often we get excited about the consumer world and the digital world, and we've seen how enormous value has been created in the digital consumer world. And sometimes I ask myself, you know, we have this incredible technology, and so we use it to take a digital picture, not a Polaroid, of our cappuccino cup, and then share it with our digital friends to get some likes. Is that really the biggest problem we can solve? You know, so and we get obsessed with these, and some young people want to start at companies that steal people's data, and so I'm like, you know, I'm super proud of being part of the Siemens team because, you know, we make real things. We make things that matter. These are the infrastructures of the future, whether it's energy that can become sustainable, or it's traffic systems, or cities, or healthcare. I mean, these are things that really matter to the world. And I'm a big believer, and that's why, you know, our dream was actually very complementary, because I said, I think we can solve and make this world sustainable and live happier lives and healthier lives. And Roland's dream was, we need to be the technologies to enable that. And that's what we can do at Siemens. It's such an incredible opportunity. And then I come here and see this, you know, these people with great ideas. Man, I tell you, this is bigger than taking cappuccino pictures.
Let's get personal. What's the biggest dream you've ever had?
Well, this is my biggest dream. I've had incredible career opportunities, and I had the luck of starting my career when the Berlin Wall fell, so globalization doubled, and then the World Wide Web was invented that same year, and so, you know, I was just extremely lucky. And the biggest dream that I'm involved in is together with a fantastic team, and Roland plays an important role in that, but everyone does, in fact, to reinvent this company. It's 172 years old. You know, means we have a DNA of being able to reinvent. And my biggest dream is to be part of that journey. I am convinced that we can make that happen. We made some very important decisions. Some say, oh, you're dismantling the company. No, we are making 3 trees that can grow, a healthcare tree that can grow even faster, an energy tree that can grow even faster and make the world more sustainable, and an industrial tree that can grow even faster. And so I'm excited about that, and I know Roland is as well, having, you know, big tasks ahead of him to do that.
Roland, what's your biggest dream?
I think we're very much in sync, I guess. I mean, providing the technologies and the innovations which are really solving the biggest problems of our customers and societies. And to be more precise, I do believe that this requires a transformation. I mean, we are the incumbent. We are the company which is successful. I mean, option number 1 is out, so we are sitting on option number 2 already. So therefore, for me, the point would be to be more precise. I come back to what I said before. Remember when I said the biggest invention is writing, and then the second biggest eventual will be making the things talking to each other, so connecting the digital world and the physical world, and gear it for value, for really solving the problems, and to be the company doing that, this magic, providing these technologies from the hardware, so to speak, to the software, end to end, geared for outstanding solutions, value creation, and addressing these problems. I strongly believe this is the only way to get out of the dilemma which I was talking of before about. That's my dream.
So teaching machines to talk to one another.
In order to solve big problems.
Sounds a bit like the Facebook of machines.
Well, we should say so. However, I mean, as I said before, it's less about solving non-problems of sharing your photos. It's really about for the sake of making this Facebook of machines, for the sake of really driving our industries, our customers which we are serving to the next higher level and solving these problems.
Roland, Jim,
it's a dream.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim. Thank you. Tack. Roland. And now it's time to meet more of the inventors. And the next category we're still in, is outstanding invention. And here we will have our host, Maria Ferraro, Maria, please come back. Big hand. Hi.
Hello.
Maria, you've been traveling today from Nuremberg, I believe.
Yes.
Big trade fair, SPS, what is it about?
Yes, we have a big trade fair, SPS, our innovation fair. Every year, I'm really amazed. It's where everything comes together, what Jim and Roland were just talking about, our complete digital enterprise.
So it's about automation, industrial automation is the big topic.
Exactly, but it's also not just about industrial automation. It's really connecting machines. It's understanding the issues of our customers, embarking on their digital transformation, and it's where our digital enterprise comes together.
What was your biggest learning this year? What was your aha moment from this year? Take your time, take your time.
My aha moment. I would say that it's not, I think one size doesn't fit all. And when our customers talk to us about faster time to market, I mean, you know, it means different things to different customers, but we have the solutions and the products to really make that happen. Environmental sustainability, you know, efficiency is not just defined in its traditional sense anymore. It's how do we help customers be more responsible, using less resources, less water, less energy. So I think the aha moment is it's really, let's say, quite dynamic, and each customer has their own set of challenges that we want to help them with.
Lots happening, lots of opportunity, and the next winning team, they are finding one opportunity that might be bigger than all the others. Let's watch a quick video. And welcome on stage Heiko, Norman, René, Johannes, Andreas, Josep und Ingo. Join us on stage, big hand.
Hi Heiko, how are you? Hello Norbert. Hello. Hello. Congratulations, well done. Hi, congratulations. Wow, okay. Thank you. Where I go here, maybe here. Wow.
Okay. Actually, you hand these out. I can help you with that, but everybody gets one.
One for you, maybe, yeah. Seriously. Making me work. Here we go. You each get one. Thank you, thank you. There we go. Thank you. There we go, coming back. Wow.
Now, in all fairness, Maria, with a group that size, handing out trophies is in itself an industrial process.
Yeah. We could have automated that, right? You probably have the idea for that, right?
Any questions for the team? What are you curious?
Absolutely. I mean, this is near and dear to my heart, to our heart. And I mean, Heiko, this is not the first time on stage for you, is it? So you're someone who dreams and dreams big. Maybe tell us a little bit about how you got this dream and this vision and how you made that a reality.
So a dream that really motivates me is to enable that we can, flexibly produce products at an affordable cost.
Mm-hmm.
So this is only possible if you enable AI at the machine level, really close to the devices. If you can imagine that a factory not only produce just one part, but can produce all kind of different objects, you can move those closer to the customer. You don't have to transport goods. You're more ecologically efficient. You can also have a much faster cycle of innovation because you can be faster to the market, change products.
Right.
And that's what really matters.
And that's what our customers are asking for, aren't they?
Yes,
They're asking for that. So well done. So maybe to direct it to the team, it's quite a large team, as you can see here. What you don't know is that it's actually multidisciplinary from different countries, different time zones. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about the challenges that you had to bring this team together to make this dream a reality.
Yes, I think the biggest challenge was, the schedule and
time zones
to bring the team together in the right time. So we had a fair 1 year ago where we presented the product first. And so we had to invent and develop the product in parallel. And this led us to the situation that I think some days before the fair, we claimed the patent. So, I want to send special thanks to Ingo Thon, who made this happen. And I was focused on getting the fair in the right schedule, and Ingo took the stress from me for clearing the patent claim. And thank you, Ingo.
So big hand, clear team effort. And thank you very much. Big hand for you guys. Grab a seat and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Good job.
Oh, great. And we stay with outstanding inventions, and the bright minds who came up with the next invention, they will be honored by the CEO of Siemens Mobility. Welcome with me, Sabrina Soussan. Sabrina, hi. See you again. Ça va?
Oui, merci.
Très bien.
Speak French.
Sabrina, I live in the United Kingdom. In Britain, they built some of the first long railways, and it seems they left it there because it is literally railways, but no overhead electric power lines. But you take a diesel train from London to Birmingham back, and it works. Why build overhead power lines?
Overhead power lines, a very cool topic. Yeah?
Good.
Cooler than the nice trains that we do. No, seriously. Electrification is a backbone of sustainable mobility. And overhead lines are part of it, of course. Yeah. And if you would have the choice of having a train powered by a diesel engines or a train powered by green electricity, what would you choose?
I take the other. Plus, it stinks. Like in Euston Station, it's okay.
So I was hoping you get the right answer. But but it is so important for our future. Yeah, it is so important for our future. Green electricity, green mobility, and that's what we are talking about. And in Germany, for instance, 60%, only 60% of the line are electrified, and this invention will help to speed up. And we all know that mobility of all the sectors is the sectors which is the largest emitter of CO2. So if we are serious about what we are talking about today, about dream, for future generation, then we have to do something about it, and we have to reduce the CO2 emissions. Yeah.
Let's have a look at the invention and the team. Let's watch the video. And welcome on stage, Team Rail, Martin, Wolfgang, Thomas, and Axel. Big hand.
Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done. Great mobility. I start with you. Thank you. Well done. Mobility. Well done, well done. Well done. It's Axel, huh? Axel, huh? Your name?
Axel.
I'm in the middle.
Sabrina, any questions for the team? What are you curious about?
I have a special question for Axel.
Okay,
Special
Axel,
one.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
Axel, we have a special guest today, your 2-year-old daughter. Yeah. Maybe we can give a round of applause for her and look at her.
Okay. Oh.
So, we are talking about dream and purpose. Did you think about her when you thought about your innovation and what you want to achieve?
Yeah, my little daughter Adelaide, she invents every day new words in 3 different languages she grew up with. And I think it's for me it's very interesting to share her creativity every day, and this is a kind of motivation for me. And yes, we had in mind when we make our innovation, our invention, of course, a better and a peaceful world, and a world without of air pollution for our children. And this is really very important to stop the climate change. And our invention is a very good contribution for this, exactly. And of course, we support with this invention the more efficient rail electrification. This will help, of course.
Thank you. Maybe another question to the team. So I'm very proud of them, not only because they are mobility. There is one guy who is not from mobility, and they proved all together that collaboration brings even better innovation. Who wants to take this question? How did you manage to come together, a team of mobility and GP?
Who wants to grab that one? Anybody? Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah, so for sure I can take over. So, yeah, I got a phone call from Wolfgang, and he mentioned he has a new project in Denmark, and they have big problems with existing and old tunnels and bridges, and we need an alternative solution to be competitive. Yeah, and there we had a very smart idea to take a search arrestor to reduce the overvoltage and to use existing bridges without demolishing anyone. Yeah, and that was a big idea for this invention.
Okay.
Maybe one last question about customers, because it's so important to talk about customers. Our Danish customers thought that his problem was not solvable. What was his reaction when you came with a solution?
You know that our business, rail electrification, is a quite conservative business. So our clients always want to have proven solutions. So the client first reaction was quite skeptic, but we were the only one who could provide a solution. And so finally, we won the contract, and I think that's the best reaction a client can make.
So, big hand for the team.
Thank you again. Very good, very good, very good.
Grab a seat, guys. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you for joining. Sabrina, we have got something outrageous, gorgeous fun. This is the 25th year we're doing this. So we had photographers each and every year, and they created now a slideshow spanning 25 years of this event. So if you're unsure what you would have worn in the 1990s, enjoy.
It's a celebration. It's a celebration. Come on. Celebrate good times. Come on. Let's celebrate. Yeah. Celebrate good times. Come on. Let's celebrate. Well, there's a party going on right here at Siemens to last throughout the year. So bring your good times and your laughter too, yeah. We're gonna celebrate and party with you. Come on now, celebration. We're gonna celebrate and have a good time. Celebration. We're gonna celebrate and have a good time.
Design, use a big hand. You're laughing. Just wait 25 years and you'll be on that slideshow, okay? Now, next category is design and user experience. And frankly, from my own experience, Sabrina, a train has that very, very important feature of getting me from here to there. Why does it also have to look good?
Because people love trains. You have heard it before. And we love our trains. And I am proud to be part of this Pufferküsser team, even if I don't kiss my trains. But design is in the center of all what we do, and user experience and passenger experience as well. If I give you 2 or 3 examples, user experience, for instance, how we designed the cockpit for the driver. It's not only the design of the train. How we designed the doors to support and to help handicapped people to make their life better when they want to travel, for instance. Seamless experience, that's another thing that what we do, which is not so well known. For example, in Denmark, we have developed an application, an app on your phone, and all the modes of transportation of Denmark, every mode, so buses, trains, car sharing, bike sharing are integrated, and people can choose, I want to travel from A to B, and I have 3 choices. Fastest, cheapest, most sustainable way.
Okay, so design is not only just making things nice, and then the other good news is if you like a train, optically you don't have to kiss or lick it. So all of this are good news. And now let's take a look at the video for the next team, the winner of the next category. And welcome on stage, Luos, Haliu, and Hailiu. Welcome on stage. Super, great. Et nous restons ici à cette balle. Merci. Come here.
Very nice. Thank you. Congratulations. You first. Congratulations. I love it. Congratulations. So, hi, I will start with you. Did I pronounce correctly? Hi. Yeah. This innovation, could you tell us a little bit more what kind of sensors and what kind of usage you will take?
Maybe Nosa can explain more detail.
Yeah, I'll talk about the innovation.
We are flexible.
Yeah, okay. Because when I started my work and life back in Beijing back in 2013, the air quality back then was not good sometimes. And it's easy to see that people wearing masks to walking on the street. And I remember when I got cold, and it got even worse. That take me even longer to recover. So the normal citizens, they want to know about the air quality, and also city governors or the decision makers, they also need more solid information to make decisions. And Embedded City Box is a device to put on the street and collecting the data such as air quality and traffic status. So it will provide more solid data for them to make actions.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And Hai, now it's your turn. I've heard you have a daughter as well. It seems that parents with a daughter are very creative to invent solutions for the future, to make a better future. So what was your dream, or what is your dream for a city where your daughter would live in?
I'd like my daughter live in a city with cleaner air and also a smarter city. I'm glad that our invention can take us more closer to that dream to create a better life, better world, not only for us but also for our next generations. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Big hand.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's great.
Okay. 谢谢. 再见, 再见. Right. Thank you. Grab a seat. And Sabrina, thank you very much. And this is the grand finale, the very last category for today. And it is for a lifetime achievement. So what do you have to do to get an award in this category? Well, first of all, at least 15 years at Siemens. And I think the two winners, we can call them lifers. They have a check here for quite a while. 2, a ton of patents. But we know it's not quantity, it's also quality. And this is what both of them have to offer galore. And they will be honored by the chairman of the supervisory board of Siemens AG. Jim, please come on stage again. Jim, when I hear your talks, very often comes up, oh, you need to keep learning, you need to, school, not enough, uni, not enough, first years, not enough. But how do you keep it up? How do you stay curious in every phase of your life? Any tips, tricks?
Well, you know, I realized the other day that I'm older than the internet, so that in itself is a problem. Not that, you know, I'm that much older, but the internet has developed exponentially. So since its launch, if you believe in Moore's law, you know, it's 4 billion times better or faster. So I have promised myself when I left my executive role that I would try and stay curious. And I do that by dedicating every week time to learn. The last 2 years, I have been following an AI class in Stanford online. Normally it takes only 1 year, but these are pretty challenging mathematical formulas. I am, you know, as a supervisory board, I am actually at supervised learning right now, so I like that. And eventually I'll graduate to unsupervised learning.
Okay, good. So it's just making time for it, doing it.
Yes, and I think you have to be committed to that. I think we come from a world where we assume that you learn the first 25 years and then you work for 40 years. And with the speed of technology now, I have 2 kids as well, 21 and 20. I mean, they challenge me every day. And I think you have to stay curious. You got to try it out, and you can't just talk about it. I like to feel it and touch it. I learned a lot from this. You know, I'm now taking Python classes. Not that I will ever be a good programmer, but it has taught me how easy it is for anyone who wants to use AI in any program. It's like 0 barrier of entry. Imagine the power of that technology when anyone who just wants to invest a little bit of time can access such a powerful technology.
One of the winners of the Lifetime Achievement Award, he has been working with AI for a long time, also already when it wasn't fancy to know about it or to do it. But first one, more in the energy space, let's watch a film. And welcome on stage, Michael Klosen von Lankenschulz. Hi.
Sure, congratulations. You okay? Well, listen, I am humbled to be here on stage with you. I saw your resume and the amount of innovation that you have created. I would love to understand how you create that room for people to innovate. I sometimes compare companies with Manhattan, where you have streets and avenues where everyone is busy, but then you have Central Park, where people look up in the sky and hold hands and have big ideas. And big companies often have a smaller and smaller Central Park. How do you create room for innovation around you? Because obviously you have to work with teams as well.
Yes, I work with teams, of course. It's not only my idea. And the success story is to have a collaborative team and to give them the peace and the freedom to do what they want to do and to be what they are. So when you have a great idea and it comes to the point that the people come together and you see that glimmer in their eyes, so that they are so interested in the things that they do, then the special spark is there, and then you know that they are ready together to go the extra mile, and this is what it makes.
Do we have big enough Central Parks at Siemens?
Yes, I have. I have the freedom to do the things I do and to be as I am. And this is a great thanks to our management. I worked there in an R&D group, and this group is exists now. It's about 15 years, and in this group, it was always the freedom to do the things we like to do, which was very successful.
I got to ask one more question, because I was recently in California meeting startups, and one of the venture capitalists said on stage, nobody, he said, we should check that, nobody has ever come up with a great idea at the right time twice in Silicon Valley. Yeah. How have you been able to do this again and again and again?
Yeah, what we do is we look for different techniques. We look for newest techniques, and we try to project them to our problems and requirements we have. And it's not only me, as you said. It's also the people surrounding me. And to do it again and again is it's a success of the team. It's not only mine. And
so better than Silicon Valley. What more can you want? Thank you.
Well done. Big hand. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And now to the second and last Lifetime Achievement Award for tonight. Let's watch the video. Let's meet the last winner for tonight. Here's Justinian Roska. Good to have you.
Congratulations. Well done. There you go. Well done. So now you know I'm a student in AI. I feel extremely humbled now. And yet I kind of have this gut feel that this technology has an incredible potential. And maybe I'm overdoing it. I don't know. What I can use it for is pretty simple. If you look at your experience and you've worked with this for many years, where do you see this going? What are the biggest problems that AI could potentially take on in your mind?
I'm honored to be the teacher. So, well, there have been advances, and maybe those weren't ready for prime time. I learned from some pioneers in the field of AI, what I learned is that something that hasn't been depicted, I would say, accordingly in the literature, but programming AI is not really like normal programming. It's like doing surgery on the brain while it's operating, while it's working. So, well, now, of course, we can do many things. Perception, maybe at the level of humans or superhumans. We can go beyond perception achieved by humans. But there are big problems in terms of reasoning, and we can do the acting part as well. In Siemens, we have the smartest, smallest ways to control motors and so on, and devices. So it's the reasoning part that can push us to unlimited heights. And reasoning goes hand in hand with human reasoning. So complementing human intelligence with artificial intelligence can take us to unmeasurable heights, I would say.
So I like this idea that, this technology, as powerful as it may be, is not about replacing human beings, but enhancing human. Do you see it the same way?
Absolutely, yes. So humans can go that far, but we have a limited number of senses. Machines can have many more senses. There are a myriad of sensors and much more data that we can possibly process in real time. We can do that using intelligent machines.
So one of the big questions I believe we have around AI is how do we stay in control with the potential that it has? I learned from my classes now at Stanford that at least the deep learning algorithm has no real explainability. And if you want a human to be in charge of the conclusions of the machine and you can't explain how it got to that, can we still stay in control?
Well, so the Stanford class, I guess, doesn't have anything about safety and also doesn't have anything about decisions that have to be made in order to make such artificial intelligence systems behave in a responsible way. Here we don't need just scientists, but we also need managers who will take decisions, where to put the bets. We need people economists, we need social experts. You know, we need to put many perspectives together in order to take the right decisions on how this intelligence can augment human intelligence.
I love responsible AI to enhance human beings. That's what we do at Siemens. Will you be my teacher?
Yes.
Thank you.
You have a date. Stay here, stay here. We need you here. You can already stay here. We still need you, both of you, because in just a moment we will have all the inventors back on stage for a photo, and you can like check calendars, make arrangement, Princeton or maybe Munich. But before we ask everybody else on stage, what's left for all of us to do here in Munich and wherever you may be following through the live stream? Easy, very easy. Now we party. There'll be drinks, there'll be some food. If you're at home, maybe check the fridge bottom right hand. There might be this can of beer, or just find a way. Party with us virtually. And when we've partied, what happens next? Of course, we go home, we go to sleep, and then what I want you to do, you know what I want you to do? What do I want you to do? But dream big. And when you've dreamt big the whole night, next morning you wake up, and then what do I want you to do? Easy. Roll up the sleeves and make the impossible possible. And with that, thank you very much to everybody in the room. I hope to see you in 12 months again next year with the 26 Inventors of the Year award. And now I need all the inventors and all their honorary lauditors on stage. Join us here, in a big hand for everybody. Thank you so much. Come on stage.
Well, it's a beautiful day to let them get away. It's a beautiful day. My heart is a bloom, shoots up through the stormy ground, and there's no room, no space to rent in this town. You're out of love, and the reason that you have to scare is that the traffic is stuck. Didn't go nowhere, you see, to find a friend to take you out of this place, someone you can lend a hand. In return to grace, it's a beautiful day. Sunlight through the sky, it's a beautiful day. Don't let it get away. You're on the road, but you got no destination. You're in the mud, in the maze of our imagination. You love this town, and if it doesn't ring true, you've been all over. And